Hello guys, I'm back with another election prediction video. This time we have President Joe Biden versus Governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, and currently he has a pretty decently high approval rating in Virginia. So Virginia will honestly be a swing state in this video. It could go either way. Glenn Youngkin actually has a better approval rating than Joe Biden in the state of Virginia, which is honestly quite shocking. Or pretty interesting. I mean, it isn't shocking, because Glenn Youngkin did win Virginia originally, and he didn't really do anything that divisive yet, except on social issues. So, let's get right into this. First few states. Iowa and Ohio. I just think with moderate appeal alone, Glenn Youngkin could be able to win over these states. Iowa, Biden's approval rating is really bad. Ohio, Biden's approval rating is pretty bad as well. Plus, Glenn Youngkin's appeal to moderate independents will really come in helpful for him here. The only thing I could see him hurting is he's pretty anti-union in his past, Glenn Youngkin, so I definitely do think he might struggle a bit there. But I just think with Biden's approval ratings in both these states really wouldn't be that competitive. And Texas, I think Youngkin would probably win by 8 to 9%, nearly safe, just because I do think Texas is still shifting to the Democratic Party every election, so that's a noticeable trend, but the trend will kind of stop a bit because Glenn Youngkin's a very moderate Republican. And Colorado, because of how moderate Glenn Youngkin is, this state will only be won by Biden by about 8 to 9%. New Mexico would also only be won by Biden by 3 to 4%, just because of how Latinos are shifting more to the Republicans and the fact that Glenn Youngkin's a very moderate candidate. Arizona and Nevada, again, Glenn Youngkin did pretty decent with Latinos in the Virginia governor election. Plus, Glenn Youngkin's very moderate on the issues, so I think he'll be able to win over. There's a ton of moderates in Arizona, so I think he'll for sure be able to win over them over there, and as well as Nevada with his decent appeal among Latino voters. In Florida and North Carolina, I see these states both going to Glenn Youngkin by a likely margin, just because he is from the South, so I do think he'll have decent Sunbelt appeal here, and he'll be able to easily win over these states. I mean, if DeSantis is able to win by a likely margin in Florida, Glenn Youngkin should be able to do the same thing. He should be able to win over the same amount of moderate voters, and he could have potential to do better than DeSantis here, but DeSantis has home state advantage, so I don't think that would happen. The state of Georgia, I think it's pretty much a done deal that Glenn Youngkin probably wins here by 3%. I think he would do pretty decent in the suburbs, or the Atlanta suburbs in Georgia, and that's the main reason to his victory. I think he would definitely connect well with moderate voters here. The next few states, let's see here. New Jersey, it would be a likely state. I definitely see it dipping below 10%, just a 9% victory for Joe Biden, just because of Glenn Youngkin's moderate appeal here. And the next few states. Maine, I still think, this is actually one of the few states I actually approve of Joe Biden, so he would definitely win this state. But Glenn Youngkin would win Maine second, probably by a solid margin, honestly. I do think he performed pretty well there. And Trump got an over 10% margin in Maine second back in 2016. So I think Glenn Youngkin could pull that off as well. Next few states. Let's finish off New England. I think Glenn Youngkin will be able to win New Hampshire. I just think he has the right appeal as a moderate candidate. And New Hampshire loves moderate Republicans. They love Chris Sununu. And these last few states. Nebraska second, I think Youngkin to be able to win. He's kind of similar. Well, Don Bacon's also quite moderate as a Republican, so I think he would be able to fit that mold pretty well. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. I mean, Glenn Youngkin isn't perfect when it comes to populist voters. I mean, he is pretty anti-union, so that's why he's not winning Wisconsin by a likely margin, and why he's not winning Pennsylvania by a likely margin, even though he appeals well among moderate voters. Populist voters are definitely different, and the only reason he probably wins these states against Joe Biden is because of Biden's extremely low approval ratings in these states. Same with Michigan as well. It's only a tilt margin here, though. I do think Biden would still be able to win Minnesota and honestly still win Virginia, even though he has a worse approval rating here than Glenn Youngkin. I still think with just national politics and how polarized it is, he'd still be able to pull off a victory against Youngkin here. So that's my election prediction, was Biden versus Youngkin. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.